This is News 4 In Depth. The San Antonio Spurs are loved by so many here in the Alamo City.
Love them a lot, can't get enough of them.
And while silver and black runs through the veins of their loyal fans, the team is vital for our city's economy.
NBA stars bring in visitors to our city where they spend more money, they stay in our hotels, they eat at our restaurants.
First round picks in the NBA draft have given us some of the best. David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But with Victor Wembanyama expected to be the next big man to put on a Spurs jersey, something is different.
Very quickly, literally overnight, San Antonio now has the eyes of the sporting world on it.
News 4 San Antonio digs into the impact this 19-year-old basketball prodigy could have on our city and what his arrival will mean for San Antonio's economy.
It is a huge night for Spurs fans. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jonathan Martinez.
And I'm Simone D'Alba. The Silver and Black are expecting to bring home 19-year-old Victor Wembanyama with the first pick in tonight's NBA draft.
But his arrival will not only impact what happens on the court at the AT&T Center. Tonight, News 4 In Depth takes a comprehensive look into the economic impact this young star will also have on our city. We do have live team coverage from right here in San Antonio all the way to Brooklyn where the draft is taking place.
That's where we begin with our Don Harris. He talked with Mayor Ron Nirenberg about the impacts this young phenom will have on our city. Hey, Don.
Hey, Simone. Yeah, guys, I've said this before that right after the lottery that Wemby changes everything, not just for the Spurs, but for our entire city. That's why I got the exclusive sit-down one-on-one interview with our mayor, Ron Nirenberg, to get his vision on what Wemby means for the Spurs and for the future of San Antonio.
Well, Mayor, this is fun times. I know it's exciting for not just you, but for all of San Antonio. Your thoughts on the meaning of this night for San Antonio and the excitement surrounding draft night?
It can't be overstated. You know, you could almost feel the mood of the city shift literally within the seconds of that pick being made because everybody knew what it meant. We have this Spurs franchise that is the gold standard of professional sports franchises across the world. And we know how much it means. It's part of the lifeblood of our community. And they've been on down times the last few years and have been kicked in the teeth a few times by, national media. And that is sort of like taking it on the chin for San Antonians as well when that happens. And so when all of a sudden the fortunes changed, literally within seconds of that pick being made, it was like the mood of the entire city was lifted and we can see, the sun peeking over the clouds.
Where do you see this pick and how do you see that the addition of Victor Wembanyama changes San Antonio long term?
Well, it has real dollars and cents impact, certainly for the Spurs franchise. But the success of the Spurs as an entity in San Antonio has real impact for the economy of San Antonio and the trajectory of our city.
There's some politicians, I won't name names, who keep pushing this narrative that San Antonio should fear Austin somehow. What do you think of the new outside investors for the Spurs and how do you view their long-term future in San Antonio?
It's been no secret that the Spurs have strategically been trying to grow an audience and to grow the brand for 20 years. Now, I will say that the reason why the Spurs are in San Antonio is because of the dedication of its ownership from the start. The ownership group that was formed to keep the Spurs in San Antonio with Red McCombs. That spirit of San Antonio lives right now with the ownership. And the chair, Peter Holt, has made that very clear. So I don't fear that. There is a very special relationship that the San Antonio Spurs have with this city that can't be replicated.
A lot of people think that at some point the Spurs may ask for public help in a partnership for a new downtown arena. There's been talk of a baseball downtown stadium. Wembanyama may help the push for progress when it comes to facilities? Where do you stand on that?
I have nothing to share at the moment about that, but suffice it to say, we are going to continue to nurture the relationship with the Spurs and make sure that when people view our team, either from a local seat or from the television, that they see a world-class franchise with a world-class community that supports it. And we're going to continue to work towards a future which there will be no doubt that the San Antonio Spurs are here for good.
You already have your #1 Wemby jersey, the tank top. I know you're the one guy that can wear a tank top.
I'm working on it. I'm still waiting. I don't think they're actually officially putting those out until the pick is made.
Can't get one of the knockoffs that are.
I've asked, but not happened yet. But when the pick is made, I will have a Wemby jersey.
All right. Thanks for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys got to remember, when Tim Duncan was drafted on this night in 1997, I was there, and the AT&T Center wasn't even a thought at that time, much less a reality. So it's going to be fun to see what the future holds. If I had to look into my crystal ball, I see a brand new basketball arena close to the Alamo Dome, along with a baseball stadium. But again, you never know. I do know that the Spurs know how to dream big, and that's evident with their new Rocket La Cantera.
Crystal ball, Don. We like it. We like it. We like what you're seeing, and we're hoping for that in the future.
And a couple of championships to boot. All
there
right.
There we go.
Thank you, Don.
See you in a bit. According to Mayor Nierenberg, that's another sign. The Spurs are here to stay, by the way. They're investing $500 million in the Rock at La Cantera. The 45-acre project near I-10 and Loop 1604 includes a new state-of-the-art practice facility for the team. Our Robert Price gives us a sneak peek inside and shows us some of the other projects planned for the campus. That'll be a little later in the show. Well, this young international player is expected to help increase tourism in the city. More people coming to San Antonio means more money for our local economy. Our Marisa Mendoza is live at Rue Pub on Loop 1604 to show us how this all could impact local businesses. And Marisa, it's packed in there. Good evening.
It's packed, Simone. It's been going on since 2 o'clock this afternoon. Lots of specials going on here at the pub, including this burger. This burger is the Wemby burger. Only $1. It's got foie gras. It's got French truffle oil, everything. So that's going on. But this action here at the pub is just the beginning of all the Wemby mania that's going to take over the city once he officially becomes a San Antonio Spur.
As Wemby mania sweeps across the nation, local bar owners are looking forward to packed houses.
Last time I felt like this was 2014 when we won the championship.
Drinks were on the house thanks to Rue Pub owner Chip Ingram when Spurs got the #1 pick, Victor Wembanyama.
There's about 250 tabs. We'll leave the money out of it. But it's our 10-year anniversary here, and we want to do something good for our customers.
And that excitement can be felt throughout the city.
Well, I'm popping a bottle of champagne for Wemby, just like many San Antonians are.
Bexar County Commissioner Tommy Calvert says every time the Spurs have a game, an additional 19,000 people come into the east side. He believes a great boost to the local economy.
Businesses like the ones behind me that are going to have coffee shops and restaurants and bars. People want a place to go before and after the game.
Also riding the Wemby wave, a local candle maker in SoFlo.
It gives us that opportunity to be creative and to reach new audiences or new consumer bases. So now we're even getting people curious in France.
Marcy Anguiano says she already sold 100 original Wemby Velas.
I would love to give him one as a gift and just show our gratitude for him bringing that light back to San Antonio.
And a fan base so excited to welcome him to the Spurs family.
Excited that gives a reinvigoration to the Spurs' team, and we can build, I think, around such an iconic player.
And here is the Wemby candle, which we will all light for every San Antonio Spur game for a good juju. And of course, don't forget this burger that's only $1. After he gets picked at 7 o'clock tonight, this burger goes back to $29 here at the Rue Pub. So come down and come get it while it lasts. For now, we're live on the north side. Marisa Mendoza, News 4, San Antonio.
Oh man, that's the job to have right now. What a great live shot. Marisa, thank you. Well, speaking of watch parties, one is underway right now as we speak at the AT&T Center. We're bringing you a live view from Sky 4, sponsored by your South Texas Ford dealers. Inside, the party is already underway as San Antonio prepares to welcome Wemby to Spurs Nation.
Amanda Henderson has been hanging out with all those fans tonight. Amanda, question is, what is the energy like out there right now?
Oh, I could tell you, but we got to show you what the energy's like. Hang on one second. Let's get up with the fans right now. Let's go, guys. Come on. It is all good vibes here inside the AT&T Center tonight. They are so ready for the NBA draft to officially get underway. Doors open at 5:30, but as you can see behind me, this place is packed. It feels like a playoff game. It feels a little like a championship. Everyone is just so excited for the prospect of the #1 draft pick changing San Antonio. Live from the AT&T Center, I'm Amanda Henderson. We're going to toss it back to you.
Boy, oh boy, that is a lot of fun out there. Thanks a lot for that, Amanda. As you can see, Wemby is expected to make a financial mark on the Alamo City, but past #1 picks also contributing to San Antonio's economy. Many say Tim Duncan is one of the main reasons the AT&T Center actually exists. He was drafted in '97 and the $186 million arena was built in 2002. And the very first #1 pick, that is David Robinson. Well, he's credited for keeping the Spurs right here in San Antonio. Welcome back to News 4 In Depth. Tonight, we are looking at the economic impact the Spurs have on the Alamo City. Wemby will be starting his Spurs journey just as the franchise opens the doors to its new state-of-the-art practice facility.
It's part of a $500 million campus known as the Rock at La Cantera. The Spurs gave a sneak preview to News 4 San Antonio's Robert Price.
For us, the expectations of this building have been, a long time coming.
Spanning 45 acres at the intersection of I-10 and 1604, the Rock at La Cantera is starting to take shape.
This will be the best of the best.
A multi-phase project, not just a new Spurs training facility, but a human performance research center, a 22-acre park, and a public outdoor event plaza. In many ways, the baby of Senior Director of Basketball Operations, Phil Cullen.
About 200 different sites that we toured for this, RC and myself, learning best practices, meeting with people, specialists, thought leaders throughout the world of professional sport.
A facility, he says, long overdue for the franchise.
In the NBA, there's 30 teams. 27 out of the 30 NBA teams are in new or newly renovated space. So it becomes for us, a competitive advantage to have an updated, modern facility to meet the needs of a modern-day NBA player.
NBA players don't get much more modern than the team's projected #1 pick, Victor Wembanyama.
Like the Field of Dreams quote, right? You build it, they will come type deal. For us, it couldn't have timed out any better.
Speaking of time, the clock is ticking to finish construction by the start of the season.
Got about 175 folks right now that are trying to get this thing to the finish line.
Construction crews have been busy, pounding the rock, if you will. They actually broke ground on the training facility in January of last year. Expect to be complete in September of this year. An 18-month project that will be finished by the start of Spurs training camp in early October.
We've got a lot of moving pieces right now to get this thing finalized.
But again, this new performance center is just phase 1.
And if we were building a practice facility just for our players, it would be a miss. We wanted to make sure that the development actually had true impact with our community.
The Rock has 5 different projects underway right now, including that event plaza, complete with sculptures, splash pad, and a restaurant set to open in March.
We'll have a large outdoor LED screen, so we're really looking to have kind of an urban town center here.
Capturing the Spurs' legacy, the team's excellence over the past half-century, while embracing what's to come, propelling the franchise and the city into the future.
It was the direction from ownership, the whole family from the get-go, is that this had to be rooted in our community, had to impact our community and better the lives of the communities that we represent.
Robert Price, News 4 San Antonio.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Brooklyn, New York, home of the NBA draft. And look who I found. It's David Zuniga and his whole family. They came from San Antonio. They live in Bernie, and you guys made the special trip to the draft. How come?
That's right. We're excited about Wemby. Just wanted to come out here and be part of history. We're excited to see San Antonio light up in the playoffs.
This is so great. He brought his son, Sebastian, his wife, who's got the greatest, Andrea's got the greatest Spurs jacket I've ever seen. Vernon Maxwell. Talk about a throwback. Vern. Abigail, where'd your mom get that?
The garage sale.
Garage sale. That's where you'd have to go to get a Vernon Maxwell jacket, is a garage sale. But you're sporting proud. It looks good.
Yes, thank you so much.
Fiesta colors. And you know what, guys? I've seen a lot of Spurs fans up here in Brooklyn for tonight's big night. Don't forget, at the bottom of the hour, our Red McCombs Automotive Special as we look closer at Wembanyama with all the basketball expertise from Sean Elliott, from Antonio Daniels, David Robinson, and more. It's straight ahead. Guys, back to you.
Oh, love to see how far people are going to support the Spurs.
Yeah,
their energy.
go Spurs.
There you go. Go Spurs, go.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
This Wemby Watch special is sponsored by Red McCombs Automotive.
Number 1 pick in the 2023 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs.
From the moment he was ours, San Antonio has had Wemby mania, and tonight the future arrives.
He's going to be a great player. He has the opportunity or the chance to be one of the greatest players of all time.
Victor Wembanyama has arrived, and he promises to change the Spurs along with our city. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to News 4 San Antonio at 6:30. I'm Jonathan Martinez.
And I'm Simone Dialba. Tonight, we've got everything you need to know about the Spurs and Wemby mania.
Let's go ahead and take you straight to Brooklyn, where Don Harris joins us live, where all that draft night fun is about to go down. Hey, Don.
Well, the Brooklyn Bridge takes you across the East River from Manhattan and about a mile south. You will find the Barclays Center, home of the Brooklyn Nets, and again, home of the NBA Draft. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Brooklyn and this historic night in the history of the San Antonio Spurs. This is our Red McCombs Automotive Wemby Watch special, and we've got it covered from all angles tonight. I will be here in Brooklyn. We're at the fan party over at the AT&T Center and at the Spurs War Room over at Spurs headquarters, and that's where our Zach Hedrick is standing by. Zach?
Hey, Don, that's right. Yeah, inside this building is where the pick will be made. Spurs GM Brian Wright will be calling it in. And then shortly after that, we're expecting to hear from Coach Greg Popovich. And after this pick is made, it's going to send shockwaves all across San Antonio once again. And they'll start at the AT&T Center. And that's where our Amanda Henderson is standing by for the Spurs fan watch party.
We're standing by, we're dancing by, Zach. We're having so much fun because this is the Spurs' first #1 overall pick in the NBA draft since 1997. To put that in perspective, I was a toddler at that time. It's been a little while, but we sure know how to give Wemby a welcome. He's the expected #1 overall draft pick. And I know over in New York, Don, you guys are going to have a lot of fun tonight. They've been giving that same welcome to him here at the airport tomorrow. But what do you think the atmosphere is going to be like as such an expert in, all things Spurs and all things San Antonio?
All right, thanks, Amanda. Wemby's pretty excited about San Antonio as well. It was the soundbite of the press conference yesterday. I asked him about San Antonio, and he immediately lit up and then started gushing about the fans and about the Spurs organization. And the one thing that you notice right away from this kid is his maturity level. He is wise beyond his years at just 19 years old. He talks like a 30-year-old veteran. He's comfortable with the fans, with the media, and he says it's because he had to grow up quickly. And this year, he became a leader on the court at the ripe old age of 19.
I've always been the youngest guy, like way younger than everyone. So sometimes I've even played, when I was 15, I played against guys who were like 21. So I've always been the very youngest of the team, and only this year I had the opportunity to learn to know this kind of responsibility, and it is the best thing I learned in my career so far.
Yep, and the man making the pick tonight for Victor Wembanyama is the Spurs general manager, Brian Wright. He is the genius behind the scenes that does all the work with the salary cap. He's the man with the plan that traded guys like DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray, and Jakob Poeltl to make all this possible to stockpile those draft picks. Now, he does not grant interviews very often, but we sat him down right before I left for Brooklyn to talk about the momentous night that is ahead of us.
What's the last month been like for you after you guys won the lottery?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. that first night, it's all excitement, you're celebrating, enjoying it, and then we realized like around midnight, like we have meetings tomorrow morning at 7, like we gotta wrap this up. But it's been great, you know, you feel the excitement in the city, the excitement throughout the staff, throughout the entire organization, and so we're excited about the possibilities that lie ahead, but you know, it still comes with the work.
I know you can't talk about specific players as guys that you are targeting. Wink, wink. But let's just say a kid from France named Victor Wembanyama. What specifically about his upside, game, size, talents just is something that not only the Spurs, but I'm sure everybody in the NBA is fond of?
Yeah, I think the word that describes him best is just unique, right? Somebody with that size, that agility and mobility and skill is just unique. We've never seen that before. That said, it's the parts away from the highlights that truly make him special, like his leadership at such a young age, the winning that he's done in such a difficult league at such a young age, the poise and ability to manage and think through a game to make his teammates better, like all of those things at such a young age. And then you do the research and you start to get to know him a little bit, and he's just a unique and special person and a talent. And so obviously that's why there's this incredible draw to him as a prospect, as a person, and what he can bring to teams in the future.
So when was the first time that you guys scouted him? How old was he? And when was the first time you saw him over there?
Yeah, the first time I saw him live was a couple years ago. But our scouting staff has been aware of him and have seen him dating back to, you know, he's 15 years old. He played up at the youth levels a couple years for a long time. So we've known about him for years and scouted him for years and watched his development. He's actually played against one of our guys. He played against Jeremy way back when they were 14 and 15 years old. So he's been someone we've been aware of and watched his growth over the last few years.
Everybody's wondering the time frame of when maybe with all those draft assets you go after a complimentary big time piece, or it's more of a long-term slow build. Can you give a little bit of a time frame on when you think the Spurs will be a competitive playoff contender?
It's not about one guy, it's about this team, this collective. So this collective unit will tell us the speed at which we need to grow, and we know that we want to grow. We know that we want to put a playoff contender in place. That's our job, right? Is try to give us avenues to continue to build with, and we're not done. You know, we got to continue adding to that mixture of things that allows us to grow, but we're excited about the players and what we have to start with now.
Yeah, and when he says we're not done yet, he's not kidding. Over the last few years, they've stockpiled 13 number one picks over the next 6 years. Will they use a couple of those tonight to trade back into the first round and maybe not even get just Victor Wembanyama at number 1, but maybe another really good player at route 10 or 12? The Spurs have lots of options, and of course Zach is over there at the War Room. We'll have the complete reporting on it all night long here on Draft Night. Guys,
it's
back to you.
like a chess game, and it's fascinating to get that perspective, that insider perspective, Don. Thank you so much.
With the third pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Sean Elliott from the University of Arizona.
Well, there you have it. He knows what it's like to be one of the top picks, and nobody knows the Spurs more than longtime player and Spurs broadcaster Sean Elliott.
Yeah, Sean said the night of the lottery, he and his wife Claudia were screaming so loud that his housekeeper actually thought they were fighting.
But like everyone else, it was just pure celebration. They were so excited. We got the Memorial Day Miracle Man's thoughts on the next great Spur.
Well, he still has a lot of growing to do, I'm sure, and getting physically stronger. He's only 19 years old, so he's going to get stronger. He may grow a little bit, who knows. You can talk about the size, 7'4", 7'5", the fact that he moves like he's a guard, a small forward or a guard. He shoots it like he's a two guard, handles the ball like he's a guard, has athletic ability, incredible coordination, has high basketball IQ, likes to play defense, likes to make everybody else around him better, but everything that we've heard about him is that, as you know, he's a great basketball player, but he's got his head on straight, and he's a guy who's mature for his age, and he understands it, and he's a true professional already. And so when you take all those things into account, I mean, that to me, and when you talk to other people that I've talked to, he sounds like a Spur. He sounds like the type of player that our fans have fallen in love with for so many years. A guy who's going to embrace and be part of the community here, and he's going to go out there and play hard, and he's going to give us a chance to contend and be a winner every single year. So too many great things to say about him. Let him come in, let him adjust. Don't put a lot of pressure. Don't put any kind of expectations on him so early. I think that would be detrimental to not only him but the fans. So let him grow as a player, and let's see what happens.
All right, there's a lot of fans ready to see what exactly happens, and that's evident with the Spurs' recent ticket sales.
Zach Hedrick joins us live again from the Spurs Draft headquarters with more on that angle. Zach, good evening.
Hey, Jonathan and Simone. Yeah, demand for season tickets has skyrocketed since the Spurs won the lottery last month, and it hasn't really slowed down since then. A team rep tells me since lottery night, they've received more than 4,000 deposits for tickets next season.
The second pick will be made by...
Just like the rest of San Antonio on lottery night, the Spurs ticket sales staff were on pins and needles.
The minute they announced Charlotte and we knew we were getting the #1 pick.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Hugs and chaos ensued.
Since that moment, thousands of Spurs fans have been flooding the phone lines to try and reserve their seat, or several, at the AT&T Center.
For the next few years, it almost feels like a repeat of 97, which feels like a repeat of 87.
Alex Valdez III is already a season ticket holder for 10 games. But like so many other fans, he's trying to be there for each home game for a chance to witness Wemby.
My Spurs sales contact, she won't admit to it, but she's definitely stressed, I can tell.
The excitement level for the future of Spurs basketball is off the charts.
About a 50. On a 1 to 10, it's about a 50. It's palpable.
The team's chief revenue officer, Frank Maselli, says with Wemby's impending arrival, ticket requests are coming in droves.
If we added up how many texts we got from people who were in the wait and see category, or people who bailed, who said, you know what, oops, I changed my mind, we'd like back in. It's an enormous number.
And the Spurs don't expect Wemby mania to slow down anytime soon.
You know, we hope it rides right into opening night. The fans of San Antonio deserve this.
Well, no doubt about that. Now, the NBA hasn't released the schedule for next season just yet, but that's expected to happen in the next month or so. Now, there are reports that say opening night is scheduled to be on or around October 24th, whenever the season starts, though. The AT&T Center bound to be rocking next season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Reporting live from Spurs Draft headquarters, Zach Hedrick, News 4, San Antonio.
Welcome back. Former Spur Antonio Daniels, now a national radio show host and NBA analyst.
He was also the 4th overall pick of the Grizzlies in that same draft where the Spurs got Tim Duncan. That was back in 1997. He makes his home in San Antonio, and tonight he joins Don as our draft insider.
It was 26 years ago, 1997, the draft in Charlotte. This was the #4 overall pick. He is Antonio Daniels. Welcome to our draft special. Antonio, you were a part of that Tim Duncan. The last time the Spurs won the lottery, you were there. You knew who was going to be taken #1. What you didn't know that night was that you would be reunited with Tim Duncan, who was your roommate at the rookie draft transition program. A year later, joined the Spurs, win a championship with the Spurs. But you're old enough to remember how that lottery changed San Antonio. What are the big differences that you see between then and now, assuming the Spurs take Victor Wembanyama?
Well, I think the biggest difference is the situation that Tim stepped into. And I think that's what's kind of gets lost here. David Robinson was here. Sean Elliott was here. You know, Avery Johnson was here.
Just a couple years removed from being an all-star.
Right.
Davidson was still an all-star.
Correct. So what Victor Wembanyama is stepping into is a situation where the Spurs had to tear it down to build it back up. Right? And when you tear something down, that means you have to start from ground zero. But I tell you what, if you're going to start from ground zero and have an opportunity to rebuild this storied organization from the memories and the way that a lot of us remember it, you got the right guy in Victor Wembanyama.
As you watch the tape of him and his skill set at 19, what is the one thing that stands out to you about him? And secondly, what does he most have to improve upon?
I think the thing that stands out to me the most is we've never seen anything like him. That's what has people saying that he's the best NBA prospect in the history of the sport. It's not a skill set. We've seen guys that can handle. We've seen guys that can shoot. We've seen guys shoot step backs. We've seen all this stuff before. We've just never seen anybody do it at 7'5".
What would your message be to Spurs fans as far as managing expectations?
You gotta be patient. And I know fans hate that word. They hate that word. You have to be patient and you have to taper your expectations. I'm not saying that you shouldn't think great about the situation that the San Antonio Spurs are in. You 100% should, because you got a stud on your hands. But also understand how this takes time. Things like this don't happen overnight. And again, Victor Wembanyama is not stepping into the same situation that Tim Duncan stepped into in 1997.
I met him 26 years ago on this week at the draft. 26 years later, he's still coming in studio. Antonio Daniels, our insider.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Brooklyn. We are now just minutes away from the Spurs making Victor Wembanyama the third overall #1 pick in team history. Now, the first literally saved the franchise. The Spurs have this great documentary series going right now, and one of the latest episodes focuses on the Admiral, who literally saved the ship from sinking.
The San Antonio Spurs select David Robinson from Navy.
But as I mentioned earlier, and I know the Spurs fans won't like me saying this, if I were David Robinson, I would not sign. He has the ability to be in the best position any player has ever been in any NBA draft. He can be a free agent after 2 years. He can pick the team he wants to play for, negotiate with them, negotiate with anyone, and get the best possible deal that he can get.
I wanted to get a sense for not only the basketball team and the quality of the team and the organization, but also the community. Just to see the crowds, to see the excitement people had, and they love the team. You know, it's just that was a big part of it for me is knowing that at least the foundation was here. We could generate some real excitement, and if we did well, we could grow the team.
In the corner, put back by Robinson.
The other players, fantastic in the history, superb. There are few players ever on earth who have had the impact that David Robinson has had, and he gave the Spurs that statuesque, Raven-esque anchor foundation that they could really build the future on.
We might not be here if David didn't decide to stay. He kept us in town. I don't think people really understand that he had options and he could have done other things, and he believed in the organization and decided to stay.
Hey, I'm working, man. Move on, please. Our thanks to Mike Kikarillo and the crew at Spurs Broadcasting for letting us share some of those great memories. Their documentary series is The Ring of the Rowell. It's a 50-part series celebrating the Spurs' 50th anniversary. The episodes are available now, and the latest, you can see the story of Johnny Moore, and you can see all of them on YouTube. And you know, when the Spurs won the lottery, Wemby mania absolutely went nuts. Still about 15 minutes before the Spurs take him, but that hasn't stopped local artists from already jumping into the fray. Amanda Henderson is live with more on that. Amanda?
Yeah, Don, from haircuts to t-shirts to even murals, you cannot go an inch in this city without seeing Wemby mania. One thing's for sure, they've already embraced him as a puro San Antonio son.
There's one thing you should never question: how much us San Antonians love our Spurs.
The first time I met a player was David Robinson. That's when I really became a diehard fan.
Diehard fans and fans in general have been starving for a moment like this, celebrating a beautiful combination of masterful gameplay and some good luck.
That the #1 pick in the 2023 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs.
After years of needing the latter, fortune has smiled in San Antonio's favor once again. Your San Antonio Spurs are on the clock with their first overall #1 pick since 1997.
Tim Duncan from Wake Forest.
26 years later, San Antonio
I had to sketch something down.
is ready for a similar run.
You saw on the news the city was like winning a championship.
Marty Leal makes art for and of the Spurs,
Players that have
including a piece dedicated to Victor Wembanyama, the 19-year-old French phenom he expects to soon arrive in the Alamo City. Leal isn't the only Spurs fan riding the Wemby mania train.
That was the first time I got Spurs haircut, and that was Popovich. As soon as we got that #1 pick announced, I decided to do it again.
This is just a taste of the Wemby mania sweeping through San Antonio.
This is the start of a new generation for the Spurs, and I think it's going to be good for the city.
A city that's embraced Wemby before they even won the draft lottery.
And we were just trying to do something that was positive, hopeful, and it's okay to dream, I think.
And dream Nick Soup did. He's the artist behind the infamous Wemby mural at Rudy's Seafood.
Fill in the spot right here.
Alongside owner Roland Ramirez, they have worked to complete a love letter to the team that has defined a city.
It just ties into the whole community.
Our community, which is more of a family, is ready to grow, hoping one pick can once again make all the difference.
What if we're getting ready? We're at the very beginning of seeing something really, really magical.
Yeah, we're already getting ready with those shirts right here. Welcome, Wemby is moments away, that pick is. But I can tell you, I already know who San Antonio wants to come join US from the AT&T Center on Main.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Hey, y'all, it is getting close. The Spurs are going to make the #1 pick in the next few minutes. I'm headed in there to see Victor Wembanyama. I'm told I'm going to get a one-on-one interview with him, but this guy's got more bodyguards than Beyonce, so I'm not sure. But we're going to have all the coverage of the draft. We're going to have reaction from Wemby, reaction from Coach Pop, all the reaction tonight at 10 o'clock. It's exciting times, guys. Back to you.
Oh, Don, we're going to be following your every move. Have fun in there. Enjoy the moment.
All right. Thank you, Don. It'll be fun.
All right. Like he just said, the pick is just minutes away. Be sure to tune into News 4 tonight at 10 for the best Spurs draft coverage. Don will be with Wemby in New York. Zach will have reaction from Coach Pop, and Amanda will have all of the fan reaction.
I mean, we've got you covered. We leave you tonight with the exclusive worldwide release of Go Spurs Go Victor Wembanyama by the world famous Mariachi Campanas de America. We will see you tonight at 10.